Let's bring in our chief political correspondent, David Akin, for a look at some of the politics on this. David, Conservatives, federally and provincially, have been banging the drum about building oil and gas pipelines. But is it realistic that we will see new pipelines?
We'll see, Eric. The pressure to approve pipelines is definitely there. We know, of course, how Alberta's Danielle Smith feels. But here's a new Conservative MP from Edmonton, Billy Moran, who also happens to be the former chief of Enoch Cree First Nation.
Building energy projects means a stronger Canadian economy, less dependence on the United States, and powerful paychecks for Canadian workers. Will the Liberal government approve a pipeline at the meeting in Saskatchewan today?
Now, the problem is, as BC's Deputy Premier said today, there is no pipeline to approve. There is no proposal on the table. Now, that said, the interesting thing here is the Prime Minister and the Premiers seem prepared to try to create the conditions in which a proponent would step forward within 2 years, perhaps, with an actual pipeline proposal.
David, pipelines aside, what can you tell us about commitments made by the Prime Minister and the Premiers to more rapidly approve big resource projects?
I think this might be the most difficult problem to solve because of commitments governments have made to Indigenous peoples for their free, prior and informed consent to projects on their territories. Now, today, First Minister said Indigenous partnerships and equity and consultation will be mandated in upcoming federal legislation. The Assembly of First Nations wrote the Prime Minister, though, today to say they are anxious that their concerns are being ignored. Now, that said, we do have a pro-development Indigenous Premier in Manitoba's Wabkanu, and we have 3 new MPs in Carney's ministry, cabinet-level positions, who are Indigenous and represent vast resource-rich ridings filled with Indigenous and Arctic constituents. I'm talking about Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Gulmasti. She's a former Cree Nation chief from northern Quebec. Rebecca Chartrand is a Métis educator from northern Manitoba. She's Carney's Minister of Northern Affairs. Another Métis leader, Buckley Belanger from northern Saskatchewan. He's a Secretary of State. And all of those folks are joined by the MP for the Northwest Territories, Rebecca Alty. She's also at the cabinet table as the Minister for Crown Indigenous Affairs. So conversation about consent is going to be critical, but right now, Indigenous voices are there from all sides.
David Akin in Ottawa, thank you.